Welcome everybody to TK Talks. This is where we're going to do stories of inspiration both on and off the golf course. I have quite an amazing individual with me today. I have Brad Schubert. Brad, how you doing today, pal?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Doing really, really well. So you're a Chicago guy. You're a suburb of Chicago. Tell me a little bit about growing up, pal.
Sure. I've lived in the northwest suburbs of Chicago all my life, up along the Fox River Beltway. I grew up in Dundee and Carpentersville. Moved up here to McHenry, met my wife in Antioch, and now we live in McHenry with our two kids.
So you are born and raised, man.
Yeah, I haven't left Chicago at all.
So a sports fan then? You got the Bears, you got the Blackhawks. You grew up playing a lot of sports?
Yeah, I grew up playing a whole lot of sports. I grew up playing ice hockey, baseball, football. Over my, I guess I got into my adult years, more of a love of playing golf than anything else, especially after my amputation.
So let's back it up a little bit. How did you get involved in golf? When did you first start playing?
I started when I was in retail banking. I was a branch manager about 15 years. And in that time, as in banking, you learn to become a golfer, as well as playing in golf tournaments and golf events, golf outings, all that wonderful fun stuff.
So it was a correlation between golf and business. That's kind of what made you a success in the banking retail world.
Yes.
Awesome. So let's take it back a little bit. Let's go to, you talked about the amputation, but how did you get to that point in your life?
Sure. I have osteomyelitis in my leg. If anybody, again, Chicago fan, if you're familiar with Ron Santo, longtime third baseman, longtime sportscaster for the Cubs, he had osteomyelitis in both legs. It's a bone infection. About 13 years ago now, I went and had what I thought was a bruise on my toe, and it busted open. It's basically gangrene from the inside out. Found out I had osteomyelitis in an advanced stage, resulting in the amputation of my big toe and the part of the ball of my foot. Over a period of the next 6 years, I had 8 surgeries on my foot, which resulted in the amputation of other toes, one of the bones in my foot, finally with what they call a superficial metatarsal amputation, which is an amputation across the grain of the foot, resulting in a club foot. That didn't stop the osteomyelitis. It got to the ankle, where one morning I couldn't put any weight on my foot, and when they did the x-ray on the foot, they had found that the bones in the ankle had degenerated so bad that it was a quality of life decision to amputate the leg. Beforehand, we'd always tried, the doctors had always recommended, because of my age, because of my health, that we try to fight the osteomyelitis for as long as we could before going to the amputation route. But once it got to the ankle, it was a set decision that that's when we were going to go ahead and do the amputation.
So not only a toll for you, but as you said, you were married, you had kids, a toll on the family as well too, leading up to that, as you said, 8 surgeries, back and forth to the hospital. The support system was there though for you?
Oh yeah, my kids and my family and my wife have always been supportive. I benefit from that fact that we have a close-knit family here. When I was having my first real bout of osteomyelitis, my daughter, who's 14 now, was just in her 8-9 years old, and she was almost kind of my wet nurse here, trying to get me stuff as to and from the bed and stuff like that, as I couldn't really get very mobile at the time. So yeah, they've been supportive throughout this entire thing, and now it's coming back to them tenfold, with Dad being up and around with his prosthetic now, and we're able to do a lot of things together.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. So you played golf before the infection of the big toe. Were you playing golf then after the infection and leading up to the full-on amputation? Was that something that was in the cards?
Yeah, I actually played golf all the way up to the superficial metatarsal amputation. So probably about 2013, 2004, early 2014, before I had before the superficial amputation was done. I stopped playing golf after that because I just couldn't really balance on the foot with the club foot. After the amputation happened in September of 14, I wound up being able to play the following summer.
Wow. So, but let's talk about 3 weeks before you had the amputation. You kind of did a little bit of your own research and found out about a couple of organizations that were out there.
Yeah, so I looked for a couple of amputee support groups as I really wanted to get more information about not just amputee golf, but living with having a leg amputated or limb deficiency. And one of the groups that I stumbled up upon was the Midwest Amputee Golf Association, and their president at the time, whose name is Jeff Linton, invited me to come out to their annual tournament. I got to ride along with him, meet several other amputees and people with different levels of physical disability or limb deficiency, and made a couple of new friends for life, and found great inspiration not only from their stories that what I was about to go through was not going to be that bad.
So you had a support group growing right into it then. You submersed yourself 3 weeks before, had a support group, found out the pros and cons and things like that. And it probably made things a lot easier going into that let's call it D-Day, really.
Oh, absolutely, it did. They did a great job of not only supporting me. They came to the hospital after post surgery. They came to me before surgery. Sent me emails of support throughout my rehab time. Even invited me to come to a couple clinics post amputation to learn how to swing a golf club again.
So, was there a big difference between where you were playing before and then where you're playing now with the prosthetic? And is there any mechanic difference that you're utilizing right now that's different?
Balance is probably the first main thing that's different. Having the prosthetic there instead of having your leg, it's hard to describe to someone what that feeling of not feeling your leg into the ground is. You can try it. There are tools out there that people can experience that by advice and swinging with it. I'm an adaptive coach for Freedom Golf, and we do that when we teach people how to be an adaptive coaches, how to swing with one of those devices on. But really, the other part is my leg is actually the front forebearing, the load-bearing leg when you swing your golf club. That is difficult because a lot of the turn and force is on the knee part of the socket. And without the ankle being able to turn or lift up, you're really basing your swing more of a hand swing than you are as a full body turn that you would see in most traditional golf swings.
Right. So you're really limiting that rotation. And what would happen to the stump if you got a little bit too aggressive in the rotation? Would there be wear and tear on the stump that would cause a lot of discomfort?
Not so much wear and tear, but you can actually turn yourself inside the socket, which I've done on a couple of different occasions. You can actually turn your ankle inside the socket. You can twist the knee almost, forcibly twist the knee inside that socket when you turn really hard.
Gotcha. Okay, so what are you doing now? What's happening right now in Brad's world in relation to the sport of golf?
So after my amputation, I became a board member for the Midwestern Amputee Golf Association. In 2018, I became the president of the Midwest Amputee Golf Association, and I've been running it since. I'm also a board member for the Wisconsin Amputee Golf Association and the Midwestern trustee for the National Golf Association. On top of that, in this year in September, I'm going to be representing the United States in the Phoenix Cup, which is a Ryder Cup style event that is hosted by the Scottish Disabled Golf and Curling Club, based out in, I believe they're in Edinburgh, Scotland. But we're going to be playing against Team Europe in some of Scotland's most iconic golf courses. These would be Glen Eagles, Panmure, Blairgowrie, Carnoustie, and Trump Albertine. So we get to play some very, very old style courses, and this is a tremendous event to help really promote adaptive golf, both here in the United States and globally.
So you're doing 5 bucket list golf courses in one trip. That's pretty impressive right there.
Yeah, it's going to be an outstanding trip. With everything going on in the world, I still hope it's a go for September, and the general thought is it will. Yeah, those are some definite bucket list items that you would like to see. Go golf courses you'd like to play at.
Absolutely. So if this didn't happen, would banking still be your career?
No, I was already in school. I went back to school while I was having my leg amputated, by the way, for instructional design. And I went back, and now I've left banking a couple years ago. I have a new career now where I build e-learning content from home. So I've got this the great career, but I don't think adaptive golf would be in my wheelhouse. I probably would still just be a regular weekend golfer, playing golf with my buddies, playing $5 NASAs on the weekends, but I don't think I would be as involved in adaptive golf as I am now. I wouldn't have thought of becoming an adaptive coach. I wouldn't have even taken the opportunity to run things here for the Midwest Amputee Golf Association as I do now.
So you've taken this situation that you're in and you've really turned it into a positive, not only for yourself, but for other people.
Absolutely. I get a lot more of enjoyment watching individuals learn how to play golf than me discovering what I can do. Give you a great example of an individual who comes to our tournaments, comes to our golf events, and they're weary about the fact that they can play golf or use golf as a form of recreation, whether it's limb deficiency, whether it's the amputation, whether it's some other physical disability. But to being able to watch them hit a golf ball and then look at you and realize, hey, I can do this, and this is a part of my life, and it can be fun. That's a better feeling than striping a drive down the fairway.
You know what, it really is. You're living it every day. I'm living it every day. It's actually fun because when you hit a shot where somebody doesn't think they can do it again, it kind of it encourages them, but then their ego kicks in a positive way, and they're going, oh, I can do that too. And you're like, you're absolutely right. There's nothing holding you back except yourself. And you hitting those shots in the situation that you're in, it is proving them that it could be done. And it's a powerful tool, and congratulations for using it and finding it.
Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what TK Talks is about. As I said, it's inspirational stories both on and off the golf course. Brad, it was such a pleasure talking to you today. I know when we put this out there, there's going to be a lot of people watching it, and I know you're going to be an inspiration for many years to come, my friend. Thank you so much for your time today.